Wes here, and welcome to Day 10 of SHOCKTOBERFEST 2023. Today we're going to have a movie that's considered a biopic. We're going to be talking about 2007's Ed Gein, the Butcher of Plainfield. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with the story of Ed Gein, he was a mass murderer slash pretty much cannibal mutilator from Wisconsin who mutilated a lot of people, killed a lot of people, and eventually would be apprehended by the police and would spend out the rest of his days locked away until his death in 1984. One thing that's fascinating about Ed Gein is that if it weren't for this maniacal person in real life, we would not have had at least 3 iconic characters in the horror genre that have been adapted from him in person. We have Norman Bates from Psycho, we have Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs, and we also have Leatherface. All of them have qualities of Ed Gein in one way or the other. Now, those of you that don't know a lot about the story about Ed Gein, other than what I mentioned, we're going to talk about a little bit why he did what he did, and with this adaptation of his life in this biopic. So Ed Gein was a young man that lived in Wisconsin that was pretty much abused and treated very, very poorly by his mother, though he loved her so much. And at some point, her treatment of him eventually slowly decayed his brain to the point where he had an anger towards people, mostly women, where he would kill, mutilate, and eventually rip a lot of their skin off. I mean, he's basically a butcher. And in this story, we have a young deputy who is trying to find his mother while he's taking his girlfriend out and about and wants to propose to her. And eventually they get into a car accident. Ed Gein finds her. He's about to kill her and whatnot. Eventually he catches up with the rest of his squad. They're trying to figure out where his mother disappeared to, where a couple other people from town disappeared to, and then it all traces back to Ed Gein's farmhouse, where they apprehend him, and that's the story. It's in a nutshell. I mean, I want to tell you more about it, but honestly, this movie's on Tubi right now. Go watch it. You will appreciate it a lot more than what you're hearing from me, because this is one of those stories, I mean, especially depicted on real life, it's kind of hard because I'm sure there are things that are fabricated, and I'm sure there are things that they're trying to be accurate with, but in this movie, it's just, this was kind of a throwaway for me. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the person that is known as Ed Gein, and a movie that's based off of him, and just kind of what I like and what I don't like about the adaptation. First off, we're going to talk about what I don't like about the film. To be honest, there are moments where it does kind of drag on a little bit. I think they really swayed away from the story of Ed Gein and made it more about the deputy and his girlfriend wanting to... It was more of like a love story, a very dark, twisted love story. I mean, yes, horror can do that. I mean, look at movies like The Reanimator. It does that too. But in this situation, based on a true story... It was weird. It was weird. We're just going to leave it at that. I'm going to talk about what I like too. I mean, yes, with the special effects being as real as they were trying to be, they did really well. I really think so. Very accurate with some of the mutilation and whatnot when Ed Gein was basically tormenting his victims. And most importantly, the big thing that I like from this movie is that the character or the persona of Ed Gein was played by none other than Jason Voorhees himself, Kane freaking Hodder. He just... Normally in a lot of movies, Kane Hodder doesn't speak. Obviously playing Jason, he's not going to speak. But when you actually hear him talk in the portrayal of Ed Gein, you want to sympathize with him for the way he was tormented as a kid, but at the same time you also realize that he is not well. He is very unhinged. And you try to take on that duality of, it's like you don't want to basically condone what he's doing. But at the same time, he becomes a very sympathetic character to a degree of how he was treated and what caused him to go down this dark path. Now it's time to grade this film. To be honest, I mean, this movie was just kind of, for me, it's kind of a one-hit wonder. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to give this one a B-, because, yeah, I saw what they were trying to do. They were trying to do a biopic, but a lot of it had to do with the fact they were trying to put 10 pounds into a 5-pound bag. And with this story of Ed Gein, they could have talked more about the trials later on, but unfortunately, due to time constraints, they just kind of gave the caption at the end of what he was charged with, how he was found guilty for, what he was going to be spending the rest of his life doing in prison, and his death into 1984. So yeah, I mean, I get it, but at the same time, they could have focused more on Ed Gein a little bit more as opposed to the love story and the rescue of the deputy's girlfriend. So that is day 10 for Shocktoberfest 2023. We hope you enjoyed it. Leave a thumbs up if you at least appreciated this review as best as I could. Kind of half-assed it, let's be honest. You can leave a thumbs down if you want to call me out and say, yeah, you left out a bunch of stuff, which I totally get, because maybe sometime I'll do a retrospect and pick out some of the things that I forgot. Other than that, make sure you push that little red button, and as always, don't forget to ring that bell for instant notifications on Dragonfire Entertainment. Until then, I'm Wild Man West, and we will see you tomorrow for a very special episode of Shocktoberfest 2023. Take care, and as always, stay scared.